What's good, everybody? Welcome to yet another edition of the award-winning Coach and Bro Show here at Sportskeeda.com. I, of course, am the coach, and I got to tell you, we're about to bring in the hottest handicapper in our universe right now. Of course, he is my partner, Vince Russo of Russo'sBrand.com. And Vince, before we even get started, my goodness, my phone is ding, 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 and they're all W's by you from this show in
Yeah.
the NFL. Are you surprised at your success?
Yeah, coach, I am very impressed with myself. And I was 4-0. I was 4-0 going into the Jets Steeler game, and I had the under, but with the Jets secondary being decimated, that was the only one I got wrong on the day. I'm very impressed, coach, with my 4-1.
I am too. And for those of you checking us out for the first time here at Sportskeeda, on Mondays, we kind of look back at the big storylines. Vince always from a fan perspective. I normally do it from a betting perspective. And then on Thursdays, we look forward. And don't forget, bonus content at Backstage Pass. We talk all the big stories of wrestling as well. But we do about 25, 30 minutes here first on the front page of Sportskeeda.com. So let's start there with that Sunday Night Football game. You talk about the big stories, and you thought there would be no points. There was 37-15. That's 52 points. So they went almost 13 points over the number, depending on when you got it. But it was about the quarterbacks, Vince. And Aaron Rodgers, he is whimpering into that final good night when it comes to the end of his career. He gets Davante Adams in a trade. Davante staying with them. All the pregame stories about how they were having dinner and deep conversations, staring into each other's eyes. And then they go out and they lay an egg and only score 15 points. And on the other side, Russell Wilson, Super Bowl winner, gets his first start. And he looked after the first quarter really, really good. Mike Tomlin now looks like the coach of the year for making that change on a first-place team. A lot to digest, Vince. Your take.
Listen, Aaron Rodgers, coach, did have a boo-boo on his non-throwing hand. He did have a boo-boo that they had to put like that new skin on his boo-boo. But I got to tell you, coach, you got to remember, I'm here in Denver. I've watched Russell Wilson the last couple of years. Now, I know the Jets secondary was banged up, but oh my God, that was not the same Russell Wilson that played in Denver the last 2 years.
Right? And
Unbelievable.
Vince, I got to stop you for a second. I did not hear one bro during that take.
Wow, I didn't say a bro.
Are you working on that?
No, Phil Mushnick scared me when he said don't call him bro. So I'm like, hey man, I better not start pissing people off with my bro. So I'm working on that.
If you guys don't know what Vince is talking about, Vince and I were the reasons for us trending number one in America on Friday on the Piers Morgan Show, and we'll get to that in the backstage. But Vince, that's some of the most fun I've ever had, and seeing how you got so fired up and then trending number one, it tells us me and you are stars. That's what it tells me.
Yeah, I got to stop getting fired up like that, coach. It's a bad look. I tell you all the time, it's not a plan. It's the Italian blood in me. When you push certain buttons, I'm going to go, and he pushed certain buttons.
Woke up Friday night. So that was Friday. I woke up in the middle of Friday night, and all I heard was, liar, liar, liar. I was like, oh, my God, is Vince in my house? Is Vince in my house? But you always say it's the fiery Italian in me. And you probably don't know this, Vince. I got a little Italian in me, too. Very little. My father was black. My mother was black and Italian. So I've got like a quarter, maybe 18%. So I feel you.
Yeah, I mean, coach, come to think of it, you do look a little Italian. I'm not shocked by that. Yeah, I'm not shocked by that at all. At all.
Yeah. I was very proud of you, though. I really, really was. And I think Piers clearly, because he told me, wants to do more with us moving into the future. So I said, hey, if the price is right, let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah.
All right, moving on from Jets and the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. So now the Steelers are 5-2, and they have a half-game lead on what's going down tonight, which is Monday Night Football. So see, we now have a rundown, and I already screwed it up on our very first show. The doubleheader tonight, and this is something cool, Vince, that I love that the NFL is doing. And that is a doubleheader on Monday nights. Tonight at 8:15 Eastern, we dropped this around 7 o'clock. You've got the Ravens, who, if they win on the road in Tampa, they will tie the Steelers at 5-2. And then at 9 o'clock Eastern time, you've got the what I call the B game, the Chargers and the Cardinals from Arizona. So let's start with that first game. Lamar Jackson, a lot of people think he is the MVP right now. You got Baker Mayfield, who is as close to a WWE superstar that there is as a quarterback in the in the NFL. And last week, I've got a little bit of a cold. I got this stupid cough drop in my throat. Last week, 51 points against the Saints. And then the Ravens have won 4 in a row. Something has to give tonight, Vince. How are you looking at this one?
I got to tell you, Coach, I've got some statistics I think are going to surprise you, Coach. You know me. Listen, I do come from the fan perspective, but I do my research. And I found a couple of really interesting things. First of all, do you know that Lamar Jackson is 22-1 against NFC opponents?
Stop it. In the last 23 games.
22-1.
Wow.
22-1.
I did not know that.
Here's another amazing stat, Coach. I think you'll like this. The Ravens, they are 168 yards away from being only the 4th team in 44 years to begin a season with at least 1,400 yards in their first 7 games. They'll be the 4th team in 44 years.
Wow. The reason for that is they made the best trade in the offseason that anybody made. Derrick Henry coming over from Tennessee. He's a beast. I mean, this guy, if you see his offseason training, it's crazy. He doesn't eat his first meal of the day till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Like the home of mamby-pambies. You can't be playing in Tennessee. I mean, with all due respect, a lot of hornyackers in you can't be playing in Tennessee, Coach.
Did you say horny-yackers?
No, hornyackers. A lot
Hornyackers.
of hornyackers in Tennessee. Come on.
I swear that I've learned more words working with you the last 2 months than I ever knew in my entire life.
Yeah.
But you were right about that. Right now, the Titans are a disaster. And the Cowboys could have had him too. He lives in Dallas in the offseason. He practically begged Jerry Jones to sign him, and they wouldn't do it. Now look at Dallas and look at Baltimore. But then the other reason for that is that Lamar Jackson, I think he has found a comfort zone, Vince, that he's never had before because of Derrick Henry and because he's got 3 or 4 really good receivers that he can throw it to. So you got all this defense out there, and then it opens up wide, and he might be, if you're just looking at the best runners in the NFL, he's probably top 5 as far as just runners, just to find yardage. And when he has the football in his hands, well, it's really easy to see why there have been games this year, Vince, that he has ran for north of 80, 90, 100 yards even. And so your stat's amazing, and I think that's why it's going to be very, very difficult for the Bucs to beat them tonight. And we'll get to our picks in a second. But on the other side, you got Baker. They've been scoring a lot of points. He's not scared to make a mistake. 4 touchdown passes last week, 3 interceptions. I love him as a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, 15 touchdown passes all in all. Lamar Jackson only has 10. Lamar's run for a couple, but he's only thrown 10 touchdown passes. I mean, my God, Jackson's got over 1,500 yards. Mayfield has almost 1,500 yards. I can't. Bro, this game has shootout written all over it, Coach. I mean, if it winds up being 10-3, I may stop picking. But I'm looking at these two teams, and man, bro, I think this is going to be a shootout. I mean, the Bucs are scoring like 30 points a game.
They are coming off that 51. They had 30. They had 30 the week before that in an overtime loss to Atlanta. All right, so we'll get to our play in a little bit. But right now it's 3.5 Ravens favorite on the road. The hook shocks me, and then the total, where I feel like Vince is leaning, is sitting at an even 50. That according to DraftKings. Now the other game tonight, the Chargers. They're laying 1. They're also a road favorite. The Cardinals, in my opinion, they have a quitter. And the reason I say that Kyler Murray, Vince, is a quitter is that when he gets down, he shuts down. And he's a video gamer. And this is how video gamers act. When they're on top and they're winning in a video game, Call of Duty or whatever he plays, he's now an endorser, by the way. Then all of a sudden you're talking trash. My son used to be this way before he found golf. But then when you get down and get beat, what happens? You quit. And you see that on the football field. And tonight with Jim Harbaugh and the way the Chargers are playing, I think the Chargers will go in and try to manhandle little Kyler Murray. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, I think so too, man. And I know from, again, just doing my little research, I know the Cardinals are very weak against the run, and the Chargers are the third highest, running team in the league. So you got that running back, J.K. Dobbins, averaging 5.4 yards a carry. I think he's going to run all over the Cardinals, which is going to open up the passing game, bro. I got it, Coach. I think I can't believe the spread is so low.
Adds 3 points. So if this was in Los Angeles, it would be 4.5. And you're talking about an Arizona team that when you look at it, they have 2 wins. They just beat the 49ers a couple of weeks ago. And people still give the 49ers credit for being a good team. So sometimes you get odds like this because of who they beat.
True.
Because I know you always like to say, who did they beat?
Yes,
That's
like
right.
Your
favorite line.
That's right.
Who'd they ever beat?
Who'd they beat? Yes. Yes.
So that's kind of why it is. And Arizona now 2-4. And if you're in the NFC, you do not want to be a team that's under 500. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams that have at least 4 wins in the NFC. In the AFC, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 less teams with at least 4 wins in the AFC. Yeah. So you don't want to be an NFC team and be behind the 8 ball already, and that's where Arizona is.
Yeah,
and I think they know that, right?
I like both of these games tonight. I mean, Coach, did I tell you I'm coming off of a 4-1? Did I say that, Coach? I feel a little cocky.
You might have mentioned it, but I can just tell you this. If you get cocky with NFL picks, it has a way of just smacking you right in the face.
I know it does.
But that's not going to happen to you, Vince. That's not going to happen to you.
Hey, Coach, can I throw a little shout out there?
Please. Quick? To who?
Bro, MLB. Big congratulations, bro. Ohtani versus Judge. This is exactly what Major League Baseball needed. Bro, the first time in over 40 years you're getting the Dodgers and the Yankees. And I'm glad for baseball. Listen, the Mets had a great run, but I am glad for baseball that it turned out this way. We're going to get some eyeballs on the World Series this year.
You're sitting in a room with the Fox executives a month ago or 2 months ago, and you had all the teams. And you said, who do you want to play against each other in the World Series? These are the 2 teams.
Yep.
I mean, when they were both in the American League, it was Judge and Ohtani 1-2 in the MVP year after year after year. I think they'll both win the MVP in their respective NL and AL. But, Vince, think about this. L.A., New York, Shohei, who's the biggest star. I actually had somebody on my other show today say that Shohei had an okay year. He had a 50-50 year. An okay year? That's what they said. I could not have stopped them fast.
Were they high, Coach? Were they high on something?
I mean,
Coach,
there's speculation. There is speculation.
Okay, all right.
But I will say, I mean, it was the first 50-50 game of the entire year. He is 18 for 22 the last 22 times he's been up with men on base or runners in scoring position. This dude, and we're talking 18 hits, this dude is on a $700 million a year contract. And Vince, could you make $700 million and say, you know what, just give me $2 million a year and let's save the rest of it for down the road? Could you do that?
Okay. Well, Coach, and not only that, we're forgetting one very important thing, Coach. By the way, he's pitching next year, bro. He's pitching next year, by the way. By the way, Coach.
That was my argument today when I said he's the greatest player of our generation. Oh, Coach, no, he's not. No, he's not. There was Babe. I said Babe Ruth was not in our generation. Well, what about Barry Bonds? I said, okay, let's get past the steroid era. I'll give Barry his props. But when he gets on the mound next year, in the National League. I mean, it's over, Vince. Just give him the MVP every year. That's how great he is.
Man.
All right, so real quick, we're going to be on Thursday, so we'll be on before Game 1. But right now, over at DraftKings, the Dodgers are minus 135 favorites to win Game 1 and slight favorites to win the series. So I'm going to let you marinate on it, but if you were just to lean Game 1, we'll do a full series pick on Thursday's show. Where are you kind of leaning right?
I don't care where it is. I gotta be leaning towards the Yankees. I gotta assume, because I don't think they're playing till Friday. I gotta assume Cole is pitching that first game, right?
The Dodgers. Lights out.
Yeah, that's true. I like Cole though. I like Cole in that experience, man.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
an early lean in
Yeah.
Game 1. We'll have a full
Yeah.
section on Thursday because not only is he our NFL expert, but he's the best baseball handicapper maybe in the universe. Certainly on
Now,
the Sportskeeda
there's
universe.
only one thing that could hurt the ratings of this series, Coach. There's only one thing. If there is a Monday night game and the WWE puts Sami Zayn in that main event, I'm sorry, MLB. I'm sorry, Shohei. I'm sorry, Aaron. I'm sorry, guys. It's over. It's over,
You,
Coach.
you are a savage.
Sami
You are
Zayn,
such a
RD,
smart
Sami
ass.
Zayn, RD McDonough versus Shohei Judd. Come on, Coach.
Oh my God. I have to actively find topics that you won't just end our show before it even gets started. And Sami Zayn is one of those topics. All right, we'll get to the wrestling here in a second. Let's get back to some of the games from Sunday. There's so many great topics. We already talked Jets Steelers, go down to Chiefs and the 49ers. And there was good and bad. I mean, the Chiefs have figured out we got to give credit to their defense. But Vince, I wish I had time to play it. I posted this today on social media. Your take was this. You said, can Patrick Mahomes score more than 21 points? That's how much they'll need. The answer is yes. They scored 28. And then you went on to say 2 or 3 other things. It was almost like you had watched this game before it happened. You were that spot on with your analysis.
Yeah. Well, this I didn't watch, Coach. This I had to go. I didn't watch the whole game. I saw a lot of the game, and to me, like the Chiefs were in charge from beginning to end. I mean, they were just in control of this game. But can you imagine what Vegas would have won on this bet, Coach? 0 touchdown passes between these two guys. Can you imagine? I mean, I don't think one person would have made that bet.
No, not at all. Not at all. And there were five interceptions.
5 picks.
Yeah, it speaks to a lot of things. The 49ers are missing Debo. He got some mysterious illness right before the game. CMC's been out for the year. I think he's going to be out for the year. He's in Germany trying to get his knee worked on. Then you got Kareem Hunt, who is the best comeback story. And this is why I don't like to completely condemn somebody when they've done something wrong. He did a horrible thing a few years ago, apologized for it, got shipped to Cleveland, said, I'm going to work on myself. And he has. And now he's come back, and he is a model citizen. He's doing everything the right way. He scored the first 2 touchdowns yesterday. And Patrick Mahomes, this is why, to me, he's by far, Vince, the best quarterback in the NFL. He has 6 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Yet, they are the only undefeated team left in the NFL, which says he's doing everything in his power just to win the game. It's not about stats. He's taking chances. That's why he's throwing interceptions. He had that run yesterday. That was the best run of his career, like faking it that way and going down the side. This guy has changed the way the quarterback position is played, and he's winning every single game. I don't know how you do it any better.
Yeah, and Coach, we said that at the beginning of the year, man. Like the first 4 games, they were doing just enough to get by. But that's the one thing about this team. When they get to the playoffs, Coach, it ain't going to be about just getting by. You're going to see the best team at that time of the year, and that's when they're going to explode.
They are now 6-0. You've got 3 other 5-win teams in the AFC: Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Houston. Two of those three teams won. Houston did not. Producer man, what's the next game on our ticket? Oh, well, it's going to be. I'm just kind of showing off our new production here, Vince. That's all I'm trying to do. Lions and the Vikings. To me, this was by far the most entertaining game of the entire day. You had the Vikings got up by double digits. Then the Lions scored 21 points. They go up by double digits. Then the Vikings late go up by a point. And then you've got the Lions that then go ahead of them with a field goal late and then play defense. I thought this was such back and forth. Dan Campbell, and I love emotion, Vince. You're an emotional guy. There's no doubt about it. Just ask Phil Mushnick. But when you're talking about positive emotion, Dan Campbell, these guys would follow him anywhere. Right now, he's a great coach. If he can figure out how to take points when he needs to, he could turn out to be the best coach in the NFL the next couple of years.
In the beginning of this game, so I was listening to the game, and man, bro, this I had the Lions in this one. I know we both did. We both had the Lions, but man, when they opened up the game, going for that fourth down, and they were being stopped, I'm like, and they were in Minnesota. I'm like, I thought that was the rest of the game was going to go that way. I mean, that was such a gutsy call. They didn't get it. They've turned the ball over. Minnesota scored, but man, the Lions, I mean, pardon the pun, they came roaring back, man. And I guess now they're both tied at what, 5-1? Yeah.
Had the off week, and then you had the Packers with a late win yesterday. But when you focus on what the Lions did, and this is why it's so hard, Vince, to criticize Dan Campbell. But the last couple of years, he's had really big moments where he should have taken the points. Really big moments. Last year in the playoff game against San Francisco, he had two different plays. He takes the field goal. Now it completely changes how that game is played the rest of the way. I never like to say, well, they win the game if we don't know that. But what we do know is that they have 3 more points. They now have a different point total on the scoreboard, and now San Francisco has to play in a different way. I love being aggressive, and I love being that guy that will go for it inside of his own territory. But there are certain times where even your bravado has to say, you know what? If I'm up 5, and it's 4th and 2 from the 22, and I take a 3 here. Now I'm up 8, which means they have to score a touchdown and get the 2-point conversion. And what are the odds of that against my defense? And I wish he would do that more, but he's got to learn that, right? Yeah. He has to learn how to do that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. He makes a lot of gutsy calls. Sometimes they work for him, sometimes they work against him, but that's just his style of coaching, Coach, you know?
Lions, and to me and Vince for both picking the right side. They're now 5-1 in the best division, and it's not close in all of the NFC. Now the final game, and this has people feeling a lot of different emotions. The Bengals and the Browns, Cincinnati, they win 21-14, but Vince, that's not the story of this game. Deshaun Watson in the first half, he was having a really good game, by the way. I think he was 19 for 21 something. He was having a good game, and he takes a step. And you can see his Achilles literally pop through his sock. And he just crumbles, just goes right down. And as expected today, it was announced that he has a full torn Achilles. He will be done for the year. Now, the reason this was so disgusting to me, and I would never, ever defend Deshaun in any of the stories that have come out against him in the lawsuits, not my business. But just from a human being perspective, to chant that wrestling chant that you and I have heard so many times, you deserve it, but in a way that you're literally chanting that at a guy that just had his back of his leg ripped apart, and you're going to chant that to him. I thought from a human being perspective, it was disgusting, but I also expected it as well.
Yeah, but let's not hope. Let's not hope that NFL crowds turn into wrestling crowds. I mean, that's the worst thing. You know, Coach. People don't realize this, and especially in football, more than anything else, football is the number one sport, bro, where your shelf life is smaller than any other sport. And when you get a devastating injury like this and your sideline, man, that it's not about missing a year. That puts a dent in your entire career. And think about that, coach. Think about, man, because to be a professional player, bro, he's playing football since he's 3 years old. And just think about it, man. When football is your entire life and you have a certain amount of years that you could play, and then you suffer these devastating injuries, man, that's just gotta set you back mentally, emotionally, physically. So, I mean, to chant you deserve it. Hey, listen, man, we all make mistakes in life. Nobody's perfect. All we could do is apologize and become better people for it. So, yeah, bro, that's lowbrow.
It really is, and it's I think it's a collective because I brought it up maybe here on the Coach and Bro show. He was on a show called Million Dollar Listing a couple of weeks ago. I watched it's on Bravo reality show, and he was with his girlfriend or wife, and they were buying a big property out here in Los Angeles. And basically, he bragged to the star of the show, "Yeah, I just signed the biggest contract in the history of guaranteed money in the NFL." That's where all of this venom comes from. Because when he left Houston with all the lawsuits, with all the women, with all that kind of stuff, and then to see him win financially in a country, Vince, where it's very hard to buy groceries these days for a lot of people, and then you see a dude like that, that's where all of this comes from. And then you pay really high ticket prices to watch a team that now, think about this number, Vince. If they cut him before June 1st, his dead cap hit is $175 million for next year, which means they wouldn't even be able to field a team properly if they cut him between now and then, which means they have to keep him on the roster, which means they got to play with one less body every single week. It's all a trickle-down effect, and it shows how bad the ownership is. And if you're a Browns fan, and Vince, you and I are huge sports fans. I'm a huge Chiefs fan. I live and die by these games. You're staring down the barrel of 3 to 5 years of knowing you're going to stink.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do
Yeah,
you do
well,
that?
that's tough, man. That is really tough. Now, coach, this game was in Cincinnati, correct? Oh, it was in Cle Wow, see, okay, because so his own people are chanting now. It's
His own fans. Yeah. It,
How
it
do
was
you,
it was it was ugly.
coach, how do you feel about that? Because New York, bro, New York is definitely the number one town where if you're crap in the bed, they don't care who you are. You're going to hear it. Is that good or
It,
bad?
it's bad, but it's a unique situation. It's because of the lawsuits and everything that he did when he was in Houston. If it was just bad play, I don't think anybody would have done it. But the stories and the fact that the Browns said, "I don't care about the stories," and give him not only a good contract, Vince, the biggest guaranteed contract of all time, of all time. The Browns should. That's why I said I expected it, because every fan is like, "Are you kidding me right now? This guy can go out and allegedly, because he settled a lot of the lawsuits." That's why I never comment on, because I don't know what to be true, and I hate that a lot of the times it comes out later. So I never comment on that. But when you got 50 or 60, there's got to be a little smoke there, right? Got to be a little fire. It's not like it was one. So the perception sometimes is reality. And it's been 2 or 3 years now. And I think that's part of the reason he has struggled so much. If
Yeah.
you had, and I can't even imagine, I've heard, can't even imagine what people say to him in the stadium, and he's warming up and screaming
Yeah.
out at him like nasty things. Can you imagine? I mean, I used to hear nasty things at wrestling, not necessarily at me, but on TV, they don't show it. They don't
Yeah.
come on at 1 o'clock and go, "Hey, look what the fans have been yelling at Deshaun Watson today." But you
Yeah.
know he
Yeah.
hears it. You know it's
Yeah.
happening. All the players yesterday after the game talked about it. They said, "In here, he's a great dude." Well, the fans don't care about inside that locker room.
Yeah, yeah. Bro, it's so weird because you look at, again, just going to baseball real quick. You look at Bauer, who never found guilty of anything. As a matter of fact, the woman who accused him of all those things, her background has come up, and she's no saint, but never accused of anything. and the dude can't get a job in Major League Baseball when, pitching is premium. That story makes me really, really sad, because this is a guy that apologized for really nothing. He was never found guilty of anything. Went on every show he possibly can to try to right the situation, talk about himself, and a guy like that doesn't get a second chance. And
it is such a disgusting story. And having been at the national TV level for a really long time, I've seen the good and the bad. And not only, to take it a step further, the girl that accused him, there was a video they found in her phone where she was laying next to him and he's basically sleeping, and she was saying how she was getting ready to take him for everything and was laughing about it, that she does it to all these different guys. And he was not allowed to say it because they had a gag order during the case. So he couldn't even say what they had in evidence. And then it comes out. And the fact that none of these teams will hire him when he clearly not only got exonerated, he's suing her, is crazy. It's just crazy to me.
it is, and
Crazy.
he's so talented, so young. What a wasted career.
Yeah. At least he got the big contract. He got to keep
Yeah.
the money. So
Yeah.
at least he has that.
Yeah.
But like I say this all the time, the money's nice, but damn it, if I didn't have this with you twice a week, if I didn't have the other brands that I get to do that I love so much, and I just had a job where I made a ton of money, eventually that would stop being enjoyable.
Yeah,
So sitting at home for a pitcher
yeah,
who makes
yeah.
$200 million, it's not enjoyable.
And he can go pitch in Japan. He wants to pitch in the big
Major
leagues.
leagues.
That's horrible, man. Horrible.
Horrible. It's so I think there's going to be a lot more of these where hopefully the tide will turn, and not that we don't want to believe the victims, and there are male victims too, not just female, but eventually we've got to stop believing them until we actually have some proof, because Trevor Bauer, my goodness. All right, so now this is the portion of the program, and then you want to go over to Backstage Pass where you get more wrestling content. But we've got 2 picks for tonight's Monday Night Football games. So here's game number 1. The Bucs are getting 3.5. If you want to put and bet on the money line for the Ravens, you're going to lay $185, meaning $185 to win 100. The total sitting at an even 50. Vince, where are you going here?
Coach, I got to tell you, I'm so confident coming off my 4-1 week. And I feel very, very confident in these 2 games. I'm parlaying these 2 games, Coach.
What? Okay, what are we parlaying? What's the first part of the parlay?
I am parlaying over 50. Come on. Come on. I think it'll be over 50 at halftime.
Okay, so 50 in the first game.
Yes.
I'm gonna roll with you on the over here, simply because if I could see the Ravens scoring 28 like that and being up early, and then the Bucs coming back, or I could see the Bucs, but they gave up 27 points in the first half last week. The first half. All right, so I don't trust the Bucs defense. So I'm going to roll with you on the over in that first game. So you're going to parlay that. So let's punch that in, the over. Then what's going to be your second play?
I always, especially these Monday night games, I always feel uneasy. I'm not feeling uneasy this week. Chargers -1.
Chargers -1. Okay, so that's going to be your parlay piece.
Yes.
All right, so let's
I'm
plug that into
I'm going to go one step further. What am I taking the? Okay. So the Chargers are favorite. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
-1, because I was going to say if they were +1, I would have took them straight. Chargers are winning this game, and they're winning it by more than a point.
So if you put those 2 things together, you're giving the audience at home a really nice price here.
Yeah.
What do you think it is? Plus what if you put those 2 things? Just take a guess on what the number is.
150.
Oh, Vince, you're better than that. Plus 264.
Oh,
264.
I'm going to the bank right after this, Coach. I'm going to the 264.
264. If they
I'm
put
going
those
to the
2
bank.
together.
I got to go to the bank, Coach.
You got to go to the bank. $100 will win you $264 if you parlay the over and the Chargers. And I actually played the Chargers earlier in the week on the money line at -125. You only had to lay an extra dime. So yes. So all right. So those are our two picks. And now Vince, you don't even know about this yet, but I called. We're big into everything, also esports and video games, and I happened to call the bosses at a place called Steel City. It is the first boxing game that's come out in 13 to 15 years. They cannot keep it on the shelves. They cannot get it anywhere. But Vince, you and I have copies. Producer Man's running all of this. So Vince, how cool this game, not only does it have Canelo, Tyson Fury, Muhammad Ali in the game, and I got us 2 copies. How good am I?
Coach, you're awesome. Coach, I got to be honest. The last boxing game I played, bro, Mike Tyson Punch-Out was the last boxing game I played. So I'm looking forward to this, Coach.
So guess who else is in this game, speaking of Mike Tyson?
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson, damn
Yes.
right. Also, he's fighting in November against Jake Paul.
Yes.
Jake Paul is also in this game as well. Everybody's in this game. You name the fighter, they're in this game. And the cool
Chuck
part
Wepner. Chuck Wepner in this game. No.
I don't know.
Can we write him in? Can we write him in, Chuck, the great Chuck Wepner?
Probably create a character. But the cool thing about new video games, Vince, is like this one there. I think there's 4 guys that come with the game. But because of technology, you can then buy the big stars in the game. Let's say Tyson, you want to play with him? It might cost you $3, $4. But in-game purchases, you can buy everybody.
That's
it's amazing,
awesome, man. That is amazing. That is amazing. Love it.
Yeah. All right, we will announce the winner of this next Monday on the show, and we will send you a code. So 1 Xbox Series X or S, and then 1 PS5. All right, that'll do it for this portion of the Coach and Bro. Once again, top shelf analysis from the world of the NFL, Major League Baseball, and also now video games courtesy of Undisputed. Now switch over to our good friends at Backstage Pass.